All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh, Shabbat, Shem, Kakadash, double honor to the apostle under the great millstone. Shalom to I came out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, and I just wanted to, do this little lesson on this holiday, demon day, really. When you think about the term holiday, it's a compound word, holy day. And this is one of these demonic days that, more so an ancient practice. Bacchanalia, and really, shed light on it and showing how it applies today. Because what the scriptures speak about, there's no new thing under the sun. You look at these different holidays that take place today, and you think they were newly created, and they always have a adorable undertone to them. When really, they're these holidays are drenched in wickedness, man. Hundreds and hundreds of years of bloodshed. Massacres, sacrifices, all these different things took place, in these so-called, celebrative or festive times. All right. I'll give a few examples. Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving. All right. Easter, your image of these holidays isn't accurate. All right, I'm talking about these really 2/3 of these people. Now, as brothers in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, we know what time it is. The Lord said He'll anoint our eyes with eye salve so that we could see. But outside of the ones that have their eyes anointed with that oil to see the truth, you have the masses of the people walking on in great blindness, and they follow the course of this world, thinking these traditions draw them near unto the Most High, when really it draws them closer unto Satan. All right, and a lot of these festivities, when you get into them, like Thanksgiving and these different parades, it's all about eating in abundance, sex in abundance, dealing with Mardi Gras. That's a ritual, man. And really a lot of those goes back to this one celebration in the ancient world, which deals with Bacchanalia. It says the Bacchanalia were Roman festivals of Bacchus based on various ecstatic elements of the Greek Dionysia. They seem to have been popular and well organized throughout the central and southern Italian peninsula. They were almost certainly associated with Rome's native cult, Liberalia, which is dedicated to Liber and spouse Libera, also known as Proserpina. The cult probably arrived in Rome itself around 200 BC. However, like all Greco-Roman mysteries, very little is known of their rites. But, I just want to jump down to the point of this guy, Livy. Livy did a observation of this holiday of Bacchanalia, and he's saying that it had very demonic connections, to the left-hand side, Satanism. Livy was, like I said, a historical studier of practices and things of that nature. He more than likely was a scholar. But it says Livy, writing some 200 years after the event, offers a scandalized and extremely colorful account of the Bacchanalia. Modern scholars take a skeptical approach to Livy's allegations of frenzied rites, and this is the truth. It's frenzied rituals. The scriptures speak about these riotings, man. All right. And a lot of these different holidays deals with, going berserk, taking illicit drugs, the uppers and downers, as Jake calls it, because when you get 4th of July and these different holidays with all these different lights and glistening and gleaming, those are some of the highest drug intake days, man. When you read scriptural days, those are days of being, sober-minded, being like the Passover is a solemn day. Now we drunk yayin on these days and celebrate it on our holy days, all but the Day of Atonement. But for the most part, when you think about biblical days, which are the righteous days, they always had a righteous undertone to them, or I'll just say an overtone. It wasn't just something that, it showed, every practice showed that it represented the Most High's spirit. All right, from our dress code to the way we keep the order and things, to the foods that we eat, like a Hanukkah. That's a very spiritual day, man. But when you're dealing with these left-hand holidays, they all have demonic connections and it's heathenistic practice. None of this is in our culture, man. You know, this, and then you see where it comes from. It comes from Rome. And like I said, it speaks about sexual violence that took place and frenzied rites. So it says under that sexual violence, it speaks about sexual violent initiations of both sexes, all ages, and all social classes, and of the cult being a murderous instrument of conspiracy against the state. Right. So it was a sex fest, and anybody could get it. You see, it wasn't no sexual standard, and they were looking to pop aggressively anything that is moving, man. That's why with these different Roman gatherings, what do they mainly do? They masquerade themselves. They'll put these different face coverings, and they'll slide into these large gatherings. The women will be naked. Sometimes the men will walk around ass naked. With it, and I was talking to this Edomite one day at a job, and he said he goes to those. I forget what they call them, but it's naked parties. I don't know. It's some weirdo shit. It's a pretty popular term, but you have these swingers, and they have these swingers clubs. Nude beaches. All this stuff goes back to Satanism, and it has historical roots. So it says. And it spoke about also being a murderous instrument of conspiracy against the state. You see, but Livy claims that 7,000 cult leaders and followers were arrested and that most were executed. Right, so that wickedness of those cult followers, the leaders of those cults, was so great that they had to chop their heads off of them, and probably torture a lot of them. Basically like exercising witches. You had these Salem witch trials that took place within the Americas. And they was going on those witch hunts, and they was taking those witches out, man, because of the nasty practices they did. They had a show on Netflix, Sabrina, the teenage witch. I seen a couple of episodes, just to, it deals with Satanism. I just wanted to see, what type of left hand, and that whole thing is filled with demons, man. You see, and those. In that show, it shows you how those witches got down, man. They all about sex. They had a school called Gehenna School, the school of Gehenna, and a lot of those women, they went both ways, man. And the men, you see, and they'll have these different. It'll be a gathering of 100, 150. This is what took place. Like I said, everybody's naked and they just getting it in. That's why the Lord has a nuke for this place. The Lord has a nuke. All right, a thermonuclear missiles that's gonna, get shot from the silos from these great nations, and the Lord just got them wetting their sword, making sure that their sword is polished, making sure when it drops, it's gonna be able to kill off and have a major impact to the point where none will survive from this. All right, the Lord is putting, His spirit on these scientists to really, brew up the perfect missile to drop on the head of you fucking niggas, you spicks and wetbacks, man. And in the midst of that time, we understand that it's going to be a great and holy deliverance, but that's why, we have to, keep our eyes open and be mindful and avoid the ways of Satan, man. Avoid this world. This world likes to snake you inside of it, man. If you see the nature of a snake, it's all about subtlety. All snakes have subtle ways of catching prey. A lot of snakes eat and take down prey differently, but in most cases it's subtle. Whether it's the rattle, all right, whether it's the constriction, being in low grass, disguising themselves, the venom, you see, and those are different attributes that this devil has to try to keep you down. Keep you suffocated, keep you constricted within this system through what? Satan worship. And that's why the scriptures speak about, keeping your hands clean out of this place. It says, he that touch a pitch in the book of Sirach shall be defiled therewith. So we shouldn't be touching this pitch, man. You got to keep your hands clean in this place. Now, of course, you go out and get you some drinks, do your thing, but you got to use discretion. Scriptures even say when you're amongst the indiscreet, because there's going to be times we're amongst the indiscreet, all right? But it says when you amongst the indiscreet, measure the time. Romans 13:13. I'll start at 12. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Right, so this represents the armor of light. This the truth of Yahweh Shema Shah. This is the armor of light. Verse 13. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. You see? So we shouldn't be, in that spirit of rioting, drunkenness, these different sex frenzies. The Lord deals with order, man. Now you might have a woman or two or three, but it's just true. This thing ain't about going on the sex fest, man. Like Vegas, you have these freakazoids that'll go to Vegas, and they just wanna pop. And it's a lot of these momos. I'm being politically correct right now. These momosexuals, they'll pop men and women, and some of these women be knowing that, and they be cool with it, man. And that's why Scripture speak about it's a shame to speak about the things that go on in darkness. All right, and it goes on in these different hippie gatherings, which that's truly that Bacchus spirit. All right, Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, and be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess. Right. So just guzzling bottles at a time. You trying to stone cold everything, that's going through your esophagus. You're not, taking your time. Like wine. Wine is a king's drink. All right. It's a drink of royalty. It takes a sippage. It takes away that your positioning. It's a way that you actually activate the robustness. Make sure you get the full body out of that wine. Smelling it, appreciating the aura, sipping it, inhale, exhale, to really get the full, feeling out of that drink. Takes time. You communicate. The scriptures speak about wine and laughter. Scriptures speak about wine and music. A light tone that complements the Cabernet or sippage that you are involving yourself into, your Merlot or whatnot. Shiraz. It's a way you do your thing, man. But you got to do it, within the parameters of this truth, man. You can't be fucking chugging, man. You can't be having these big ass cakes on the top of your head like these frats, with these little swizzlers swizzling all over the place, and is going to your mouth, and brothers know what I'm talking about. That ain't the spirit that we in, man. This is the thing of being sober minded. All right, because this world is going to hell in a handbasket, as the old Jake say. That hell represents basically destruction or the pit. So this place is going to be destroyed. But the ones that's being solemn and, being sober-minded as possible, mentally sober, really, you could drink. Those are the ones that the Lord, got his eyes on, in the good sense. But it says, be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Right, so that's what it's about, doing your thing in the spirit of the Lord, and keeping yourself out of the ways of Satan. Like I said, that Bacchus spirit, which I could have really, matter of fact, I gotta go into it, because the theme of it dealing with Bacchus and this wickedness, and we talking about righteousness, so let's go into this demon of Bacchus. I'm going to read 2 Maccabees 14:33 first. It says, he stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner. If you will not deliver me, Judas, as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground, and I will break down the altar and erect a noble temple unto Bacchus. So they was always looking to put this guy Bacchus into the temple, and they accomplished that. All right, so when you're dealing with the book of Acts in the New Testament, you start to see how Paul, Peter, and the respective disciples, which later become apostles, and also the disciples that were under them, they was all about tearing down those strongholds that these heathens were erecting, man, such as that. And a lot of them they couldn't destroy physically because they was living in these cities they had jurisdiction, You know, if you go to a shrine shop and you start destroying shrines, you might destroy. You go to a museum. Go to a museum and start destroying. You fucking destroy a piece that's worth $12-13 million. They're gonna throw that debt on you, man. That ain't wisdom. You know. But pushing this vibration, this is how we destroy strongholds. All right. This is the most powerful way you destroy strongholds, by destroying it in the mind. So when we see these different idols, we know, as it is written in the book of Psalms, the gods of the nations are nothing but idols. But the Most High Yahweh Shema Shai, he made the heavens. And 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter, you know, for time's sake, goes into how Jake started to pervert the law, statutes, and commandments. And what it was one of the main things they did in verse 6. I'll read was verse 7, but I'll read verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient days, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Yeah, and as a side note, that's where you even have the spirit of that these Ivy League universities, you know, that's the main symbol within these Ivy League universities is the ivy leaf. And that goes back to Bacchus. Whether they consciously or subconsciously know it, you know, these elites that's juiced in, they do everything with a demonic, you know, and they put their demonic stamp, you know, to stamp and approve what spirit that these things are subscribed to. And that's why with these sororities and these fraternities, it's a lot of sex practice, sex magic going on, you know. And in order to get initiated, you gotta be a full-scale demon, man. A lot of them get defecated on, urinated on. It's a foul thing, and that's why the Lord is going to judge these universities. You know, he's going to judge these colleges. He's going to judge these institutions. All right? He's going to judge everything that this place has to offer. And when he establishes his kingdom, which is going to be a noble kingdom of men that know to do right, so it speaks about a nation full of kings and priests. All right? That's going to be the standing kingdom, and everything else is going to be cast down. When that kingdom is established, all righteousness will flood and flow through the face of the earth. There will be no snippet. You won't even see a snippet of wickedness in the kingdom of heaven, man. It ain't like you're gonna turn and just see a little bit of wickedness and be like, oh shit. Nah, it ain't gonna be none of that. All right, because the breath of Yahweh Shema Shai is gonna course throughout the face of the universe. You know, so hopefully brothers are edified. I'm ended by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Shema Shai by Shema Kakodash. Double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom Akim.